We are live, ladies and gentlemen, after the Miami Dolphins are embarrassed by the Indianapolis Colts. Final score 33-8, and nothing was working on both sides of the ball for the Miami Dolphins. It really seemed like this was the worst possible game you could have played on both sides of the ball. Aiden, after being embarrassed in week one, what are your expectations for the rest of the season? What's your instant reaction like? How are you feeling after the loss?
I'm disappointed, JJ. I mean, you don't want to have this week one, especially. I mean, with the roster we have. We have a good roster. We're capable, and Mike McDaniel and Tua prove exactly why Miami is not a good team anymore. It's been the same stuff for 5 years now, and Tua for the last five, I'm pretty sure, and Mike for the last three, and it just nothing has been working our way, and stuff needs to happen now before things get a lot worse. Or I'm fine with taking for a quarterback. Just let's be communicative at least, and we get it, but dropping a game to the Indianapolis Colts, I mean, come on, losing to Daniel Jones is just an embarrassment on our end of the side, and we're gonna go on and go on and go on and why this team is not it this year. I mean, JJ, this was a bad game. I think this is the worst Miami Dolphins game I've watched in a long, long, long time.
I definitely agree with you 100%, Aiden. And not only did Daniel Jones just dice up this defense overall, we couldn't even stop him. We didn't even put any pressure on him. It looked like he had at least 10 seconds per play to throw overall. So not good from our defense on that side. And you mentioned it. This is to a sixth year, McDaniel's third, and you have to fix it ASAP. It has to be fixed now. I'm tired of waiting. Still haven't won that playoff game that we're so hungry to win. And this is not a team that's expected to win the Super Bowl in the Colts. This isn't really a good football team that we just got embarrassed by. This is a average, some say below average team, and we were able to be embarrassed fully. Aiden, let's address the elephant in the room. Tua Tagovailoa didn't play good at all. Turned the ball over a lot. 2 interceptions he threw, and 9 incompletions by him,
And one fumble by him as well.
one fumble as well, which was all on him. And he got sacked a bunch too, which, yes, some people say that's on the O-line, but he could throw it away a little bit quicker. 1 touchdown that came in the garbage time where he just dumped
I
it
don't
off
even
to
think that
A-Chain.
was really good on
Yeah,
Tua. I mean,
that
A-Chain,
was A-Chain
that
fully.
was all A-Chain and
That was
everybody.
all A-Chain. But Aiden, how do the Dolphins go from here with Tua? Do you see any room for Tua leading this team to double-digit wins, or is it time to bench him and start Zach Wilson?
I think it's time, JJ. I really do think it's time. Tua has proved to us he's not that. He's inconsistent. And if you want to win a playoff game, we're not even looking to win a Super Bowl right now. We just want that playoff win that we haven't had in 25 years longer. It's been a while, JJ. And Tua's not going to bring us to double-digit wins. Tua's not going to bring us to the playoff game win that we want. Tua is not the answer. And same with Mike McDaniel. I'm calling it now. Mike McDaniel will be gone this season. If Tua is healthy and continue to play and Dolphins continue to play like they are, expect Mike McDaniel to be gone by week 6.
And there's no sense of urgency from Mike McDaniel. He's sitting there on the sideline looking at his playbook and smiling. And you, as a head coach, you want him to be able to yell at the guys and be able to fire them up and hype them up, and we just didn't see that overall. It may indeed be Zach Wilson time in Miami. He did get to
Or
play the last drive, five completions, 8 attempts, 32 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Really not his game overall, because he didn't really get to play that much playing time. We want to see more from him, but this defense, Aiden, switching it over to the other side, it was not able to stop the Colts offense and Daniel Jones in particular, fully. And, the one guy who I see positive on is Rasul Douglas. He was able to cover a bunch of guys, one of them being Pittman, very well, even though Pittman had a huge game. But Jonathan Taylor had an insane first half. They really milked the clock with him only. When it comes to this defense, what's the solution that you see, and what needs to be fixed?
I mean, I'm going to be quite frankly honest, JJ. The defense didn't even think I played bad. We just turned it over so much. Turned it over on downs. Turned it over with Tua throwing interceptions, Tua fumbling it. That the defense couldn't even have a chance to breathe, JJ. So, yes, I would blame some of this game on the defense, but I don't even think they had a horrible game. I'm just mad about the corners. We have no cornerbacks. And Storm Duck getting hurt, we literally have nobody anymore. And we told every single fan that's a Miami Dolphins fan. We said it during the offseason. We need corners. We need corners. We need corners. And then they don't do it. Do we need the fans to take over as GM and coaching and stuff? Because you guys aren't able to do it, so we can. I mean, seriously, we need corners. You guys say you guys want to be a Super Bowl contending team. Then why don't we have corners? We have undrafted free agents as our starting corners now, JJ. I mean, that can't happen. And especially in a place where Miami is, people should want to come to Miami, not run away from Miami because of the coaching staff and general manager and inconsistency of Tua. I'm not even going to lie, JJ. I'm mad right now.
I 100% agree with you, Aiden. And you said you want the fans to be GM. If you were the GM, today, what's the first thing you're doing if you take Chris Greer's spot? Would it be to trade Tua? Would it be to get someone else? What are you doing first move, first day? Aiden.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. So what I would do, I would first get a corner. I would get a corner. I'm firing Mike McDaniel and I'm getting rid of Tua. And I'm changing up this whole Miami team. I'm gonna rebuild. I'm gonna get rid of Chubb. I'm gonna get rid of Tyreek. I'm gonna keep Waddle. I'm gonna keep Chop. I'm gonna keep Minta Fitzpatrick because we just got him on a deal. So I'm gonna keep those star players, kind of, sort of. I'm gonna keep Quinn Ewers and I'm gonna start Zach Wilson for the rest of the season. I'm gonna see how Zach does. If we win a few games, great. If not, whatever. We're not expected to win as with Zach Wilson as our quarterback. We're gonna have Jalen Waddle. We're gonna have a bunch of picks. We're gonna have a lot of picks, and this is where the rebuilding comes in. We're gonna go to the draft and we're gonna win the draft. That's the number one thing as a Miami fan and as Miami front office. Win the off season. That's what Miami needs to do. I know it's only week one, but just watching week one, we're already in mid-season form. I hate to say it. I really do, JJ. I hate to say it. We're already in mid-season form. And I just hate to see that from this team because this team does have hope. And I know every Miami fan watching this right now is like, this is our year. We're going to win a playoff game. No, it's not, guys. I'm sorry. I hate to be that person. It's not. Tua throwing 2 interceptions and fumbling in a game is not going to be the answer. Our corners getting toasted by Indianapolis, that's not going to be the answer. Our defense not being able to stop them, that's not going to be the answer. And Mike McDaniel doing some very questionable things like having 12 people on the field for a penalty, that's just not going to be the answer, JJ. And this team is going to have problems. And I'm going to go to the locker room banter. The locker room banter is not good either. I mean, reports have come out. The locker room is not good. The only person that I like today, and this is going to sound crazy, is Tyreek yelling at people. The game showed it. Tyreek was getting frustrated with Tua, frustrated with everybody, and Tyreek was expressing that. Why is Tyreek Hill showing that more than Mike McDaniel is caring about the game? A player cares about the game more than a head coach. Players were supposed to care about the game, but at the end of the day, they're getting paid millions and millions of dollars. But the head coach, his job is to make sure the team is hyped, ready to go, and knows the plays. And Tyreek is doing that more than Mike McDaniel.
He certainly is, Aiden, 100%. And you love to see at least someone as fired up as Tyreek. You gotta love to see it. Him being super into it on the sidelines, hyping people up and firing them up for sure, because you need to have that passion that Tyreek does to want to turn things around ASAP. And stuff needs to change very soon if Mike McDaniel wants to keep his job, if Chris Greer wants to keep his job. We've talked a little bit about the negatives on both sides of the ball. Are there any other positives that you see other than Tyreek Hill firing the team up? Or
I
in
mean, I think Devon Achane had a solid game. I don't think he was unbelievable, but I also don't think he was horrible. I thought he did good for the circumstances that he was in today. I'm going to give it that. I thought he did good for the circumstances that he was in. And I thought our return team did great today. I thought they
yeah,
had a pretty good game.
Yeah, and I'm super surprised they abandoned the run because Devon Achane averaged over 7 yards a carry. The Dolphins should be handing the ball off to him a little bit more. I know Tyreek was complaining about how much Devon Achane gets the ball, but the reality of it is you can't expect Tua to go out there and throw the ball 23 times and have Zach Wilson throw 8 times. And that's a total of 31 total passes, which isn't a huge positive. And Devon Achane only got 7 carries. So he really only leaned towards the passing game and abandoned the rush game for sure. I expect the Dolphins to be incorporating the rush a little bit more, especially when you draft a guy like Ollie Gordon in the
Hey,
draft.
JJ, I will give credit to Mike McDaniel on one thing today. I love seeing Ollie Gordon come in for those 3rd-and-1 plays. He's a big power rusher. I love seeing Ollie Gordon come in for those plays. Get us that first down. But today we didn't really have the opportunity to do that. It was either a turnover or a sack, and it wasn't reachable. But there was one in particular that I watched when it was 3rd-and-1. Ollie Gordon ran right down the middle, first down Miami. But this
Yeah,
is going to be a long, long season, JJ.
Yeah, and you really mentioned it, Ollie Gordon, good way for him to fight for those yards on 3rd and short. The secondary, as you mentioned, it's the biggest weakness of this Dolphins team. We really weren't able to get anything going in the secondary. No pass breakups for the Dolphins, really poor coverage. Tyler Warren was the guy who really was able to create separation on our corners. And if Tyler Warren is doing that, just wait till the Dolphins play better receivers who are faster and able to create more separation.
Hey,
I mean, I'm
JJ,
already nervous for the game against the Bills in 2 weeks where, you're going up against a guy like Keon Coleman, who's way faster. Even the Patriots with Jacoby Meyer next week. If we can't guard Tyler Warren, how can we expect to guard those guys? And I want to ask you a little bit about this Dolphins defense. Again, I want to go over it to it. The defensive line. They didn't really bring any pressure at all going forward. If you're the Dolphins defensive coordinator going forward and you're the play caller on defense, and that would obviously be Anthony Weaver, who's
JJ,
the Dolphins
I'm
DC. What are you going to do?
right now. I'm looking at the stats, and I'm pretty sure, according to the stats, we had 1 sack today by Bradley Chubb. I'm looking at these stats, and I see 1 sack by Bradley Chubb today. This is bad. This is bad, and this defense is. I mean, we can't blame them terribly for everything, but they need to step up their game too. The offense isn't doing the role. I would like to see the defense step up a little bit more than the offense can. Because if the offense can't be firing, the defense needs to be firing. But today it was just a down day by everybody. And JJ, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was looking forward to seeing Jason Sanders play today. And unfortunately we didn't get to see any field goals or anything.
Yeah, it was only punts really for the Dolphins overall, besides that one garbage time touchdown. And we didn't get to see him kick any field goals. Hopefully, against the Patriots, we'll be able to score a little bit more and he'll be able to kick an extra
I think
point.
we're
But
gonna lose. We'll get into that later for our predictions for next week, but I mean, I'm just looking at these stats right now for us, and it's depressing. I'm looking at Tua versus Zach Wilson. I mean, Zach Wilson only played a little bit. If Zach Wilson would have played the time Tua would have played, I'm calling it right now. It would have been way closer, maybe even a Miami win. I'm looking. Zach Wilson, 5 for 8, 32 yards. Tua, 14 for 23, 114 yards, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions and 1 fumble. I mean, if you would have gave Zach Wilson or Quinn Ewers that time, wow, things could have been different today. And I would have liked to see Mike McDaniel step up after that second drive and say, Tua, you're done for the game. You already throw 2 interceptions. You're done for the game. Put it in Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, he's not a veteran,
yeah,
but he knows how to operate an offense quickly. I'm
Yeah,
listening.
and we have a comment here in the chat. Drop the comments in the chat if you have any more. This one's coming in from Center of Miami, Implant Center of Miami. She says, "Does Tua need to go?" Question mark. Aiden, we already covered that. I'm gonna let you give your rant on him again, real quick.
I think he has to go. If I'm being quite frankly honest, he's too inconsistent. He gets way too many injuries. He doesn't run, and he does not throw the ball consistently. So why would he stay in this Miami offense? Same with Mike McDaniel. So I do think he should go. He's not benefiting us. He's just making us lose more games for the time he's in. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, Tua's the Super Bowl MVP when he's healthy." Really, we saw today what Tua can be when he's healthy. Not even versus the top team in the league. Okay, if it's versus the Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, Kansas City Chiefs, I get it. We're the Dolphins. We're not the Ravens. But versus the Colts, are you joking me? The Colts. They're a solid team. I'll give them credit. They beat us fair and square. Congrats to them. You guys beat us. I'm not even going to lie. But if we can't even come close to a team like the Colts, what makes you think that Tua's going to be able to lead us to a playoff win? So, yes, I think Tua should be benched for the season.
Yeah, I want to get into the nitty gritty with Tua's game. He has a quick release, which is a positive, but overall, the way he scans the field, he's only looking at his first target. And if his first target isn't there, he's just going to throw it to him or take a sack if he's in double coverage. Tua doesn't scan the field. He looks at one guy, whether it's right or left of the field, like that throw to Jalen Waddle that was way overthrown. He looks at one side of the field and he'll go to him or not. He also gets benefited by these 3-yard screen throws that he has where A-Chain will take it himself. That is not on Tua. That is all A-Chain. All Tua can do is throw these 6-yard out routes or 2-yard drags over the middle. He can't really be able to be that guy who can lead you down the field and win a football game. That's not what the Dolphins are getting in Tua. And he is a subpar quarterback in the NFL for sure. So I definitely think
You're
you
going
have
to
a
think that.
capable backup this year, Aiden. Zach Wilson, this is a guy who started for the Jets for many years. And we have a special guest here who's joining the show. We're gonna say
Jordan, how are we doing?
Good. How have y'all been?
Good. Did you just get to watch the horrible game by the Dolphins?
No, hell, I couldn't watch it, but I wasn't at the Florida Atlantic game last night against the Rattlers.
It's good to hear.
But at least we got at least one. At least we have one good game. At least we went to watch at least one good game. The old saying goes.
JJ, are you there?
sorry guys. Camera difficulties there, Aiden. He didn't watch the game, but he was at the FAU game indeed. I'm gonna
We'll
ask
get
you.
into that to later segment.
Yeah, we'll get into FAU. Jordan, hang around. This is the night house. Hang around, stay in there. We'll get into you in a bit. Aiden, let's talk a little bit about Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is a guy who's calm and composed in the pocket. He scans the field. He's going to stay in the pocket. He's really good arm talent, unlike Tua. He can really see if the defenders are coming after him. And if there's a blitz, he reads coverage really well. He's a high football IQ, and that's what Dolphins fans would get out of him if he is the starter indeed. So
Oh,
hopefully they'll
JJ,
make a change before
we have
next week.
another question from Implant Center of Miami. She said a lot of money tied up, right? JJ, do you want to answer that for us with Tua?
Yeah, so the Dolphins extended his 5th-year option, so there is a lot of money if we are to cut him or to trade him. Indeed, that's for sure. But I think at this point, you can't really be worried about that if you're the Dolphins. You can't be worried about that. You got to clear up the cap. And how do you do that? You do that by not having to pay extra for cutting these guys. So benching him, yes, you're paying so much for a guy like Tua, but overall, you want to give the team the best chance to win, and I think that that's super important.
JJ, I have a question for you. Do you think Zach Wilson's the best shot at bringing Miami back to a playoff win this season? Or do you think it's riding it out with Tua or possibly putting in Quinn Ewers or maybe making a midseason trade for a quarterback? What do you think's the best scenario for Miami? If we were to move on to this game, what would you do as general manager from this game on? To
I
try
would
to make
start
the
Zach
playoffs this
Wilson.
year.
I think he gives you a better chance to make the playoffs with Tua. First off, he's less injury prone than Tua. If you ride with Tua, you never know. That'll make Zach Wilson not be able to get into the groove overall. And then also, when it comes to these two quarterbacks as a whole, Zach Wilson is a guy who's experienced. And if you start Quinn Ewers, he's not as experienced because you mentioned would Quinn Ewers be the guy? Quinn Ewers, he's a rookie out of Texas. I don't think you go with him. He showed that he's not, anything special out of what we saw in the preseason. And I think Zach Wilson is definitely the guy. And when you compare Tua and Zach Wilson scans the field better. Tua, yes, he's more mobile. He can escape the pocket, get outside the perimeter, use his legs. But overall, I think that Zach Wilson is better in the pocket. He's more accurate. He hits his receivers better. And he can throw it more than 5 yards down the field because Tua can't do that. All Tua can do is throw two screens. In I have a comment here on the X chat, and it says that terrible quarterback, terrible coach, terrible GM, terrible organization. I agree with all of those. Do you want to expand a little bit on that?
Yeah, I can expand on that. I do think it's not the best right now at Miami. We've had our times, and I just don't think this is the best time for Miami right now. I mean, Tua is just not the answer. I've already said that multiple times already, but Tua is not the answer for us. Chris Greer, I've said it last season too, JJ, and you can quote me on this. Chris Greer has to go. Mike has to go. Tua has to go. And honestly, throw Tyreek in there. I think he has to go. He's in trouble in this locker room, is what I've seen on the news. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've seen that on the news. I mean, I like today how Tyreek stepped up and showed leadership of telling the teammates, step up, get up. We need to get in this game. And fortunately, we weren't able to do that, but I appreciate Tyreek for that. Tyreek, we know you've said some things about Miami, and honestly, I don't blame you right now. I would want to leave too if I was you. I mean, you're one of the best wide receivers of the league, and you're losing to the Indianapolis Colts. So, yes, I do agree with terrible, terrible, terrible.
Yeah, and you got to fix that as soon as possible. I would say overall, there's no heart, there's no energy, there's no fight in this team at all, which is something that, has been happening for a while in Dolphins teams, and it's got to be fixed. It's a culture issue. And you cleaned up the guy that, Chris Greer was saying who was making problems, Jalen Ramsey, and still nothing has been fixed. It is looking very bad overall if you are a Dolphins fan. Let's get into a little bit of next week. The Dolphins do take on the New England Patriots, who did play the Raiders today in a very interesting matchup. The Patriots are, 0-1. They lost to the Raiders 20-13. They played some good defense overall, but they really aren't able to move the ball really that downfield. And I think, Jacoby
Dolphins
Myers is
fans,
going to be
Dolphins
the
fans,
one
wait.
threat overall, Aiden. But when it comes to this Patriots team, what do you think the Dolphins need to look out for and who jumps off the page on the Patriots?
Well, JJ, first and foremost, I want to get right one thing before I get into that. Dolphins fans, we have some good news besides the game. Everybody in our division currently is 0-1, and we have a shot with Buffalo going 0-1 tonight, taking on the Ravens. So basically, I would say we need to go start getting on the winning track because I wouldn't say all hope is over. We're all 0-1, and hopefully Buffalo loses tonight, and everybody in our division is 0-1 to start off week one. So starting week two, we could get a win and maybe get some momentum going again. I mean, I take this week as a loss, but in all honesty perspectives of trying to win the division, I don't take it as a loss if Buffalo loses tonight. Buffalo loses tonight. Anything is still up for hand, JJ.
But Aiden, the question was, if you look at this Patriots roster, who jumps off the page for you? Who are some of their key stars?
Stephon Diggs, a veteran wide receiver, able to get the job done. And I just don't see any of our quarterbacks able to guard him.
He is indeed a veteran. He'll
And I
be
can
able.
see Drake May cooking this secondary all game long.
Yeah, I definitely could see that as well. I could see Jacoby Myers getting open too. And I think that's a key guy that we have to be able to stop if our secondary continues. I don't see that happening at all. But yeah, I think that it's going to be a good matchup. It's going to be a little bit more interesting. I'd say the Patriots are one of the bottom five worst teams in the NFL.
I
They're
would
in a
say we are
rebuilding
too
phase.
now,
But
Jose.
Aiden, I want to ask you here between these two teams, how do you see the matchup going and who do you got in this one?
It's going to be a close matchup. I mean, these as of right now, these are two of the worst teams in the league, in my perspective. These are two bottom five teams in the league right now. So it's going to be a not very offensive game. It's going to come down to defense at the end of the game, I feel like, because both offenses are not very good as of what we saw in week one. I mean, the Jets, we're talking about New England. New England had wouldn't say a high scoring game. It was pretty low scoring, 2013. I mean, that's still more points than the Dolphins put up, but I would still say it's going to come down to defense that game. It's going to come down to defense. Whichever team has more heart is going to win the game. And if the Dolphins can't fix the locker room by this week, I just don't see the Dolphins winning this game. But if everything goes well, I mean, I think the Dolphins should pull out with this one. But we all thought Dolphins were going to pull out with this one. So you really never know what to do with this Miami team. Very unpredictable. JJ, you're on mute right now.
Yeah, 100% Aiden. I was saying sorry about that, guys. Was on mute there. But when it comes to Patriots Dolphins, I think you said it perfectly. I think that the Dolphins want to hope that everyone else in the division loses. The Bills have a tough one tonight against the Ravens. Everyone's 0-1. We all know if you win the AFC East, you're automatically in the playoffs. And I think you have to move past this. And this all goes on coaching. You have to transition. Mike McDaniel, he's got to be able to rally the guys in practice day in and day out, get them to believe, have a little bit of belief in the locker room. But we have a guest, as you mentioned, Aiden, joining us. Jordan, I'm going to let you give your thoughts on yesterday's game, which you covered.
Absolutely, guys. And, Florida Atlantic in particular, they played against the A&M Rattlers, all right? HBCU team, you don't only get a win off of anyway. But this all went exactly as expected for this Florida Atlantic football team. Caden Bellcamp, and this all started right from the first possession, from the first drive. Caden Bellcamp and with the touchdown drive to get the Owls up 6-0. Then you went aggressive, get your 2-point conversion, do the kickoff, and what happened 2 plays later on fourth down when Florida A&M get possession? Florida Atlantic immediately executes a block punt and the game immediately goes up 15-0 in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, Jordan, it immediately did. The block punt after the touchdown by Josh Roberts, freshman defensive end. Great day for FAU yesterday. Great day going on. Caden Velkamp was indeed great. 5 touchdowns for him, over 300 passing yards. Was able to get his guys. Assad Wasim, 2 touchdowns in there. Dom Henry was able to get open a lot. Easton Messer's number 1 target was there too. You talked a little bit about the 15-0 start, and some of it has to go on the defense. We held Florida A&M to a shutout on defense. What do you like about this FAU defense, Jordan?
Well, this Florida Atlantic defense is physical. All right, when you 5 stats within the game, and then immediately get up. You already by halftime. I left the game at halftime, and when you got off to 39-0, which I don't think they've had a 39-0 start in years for Florida Atlantic. So overall, very impressive performance by this Florida Atlantic football team, especially in that first half when you went up 39-0. I mean, basically, by the time halftime ended, I think the stadium was basically at half full. We lost everybody pretty much left because it was already a 39-0 blowout.
We have some St. Andrews fans tuning in. And St. Andrews plays Pope next Monday. I want you to just talk a little bit about the game and what you think about it from both teams.
Hope's going down, Jordan.
Well, I've got something to tell you a little something, okay? Battle Boca Raton, right?
Battle of Boca.
Brand new field. Brand new field, Boca 2.0. If you're St. John Paul, and I hate to be me to somebody that's saying it right now, this is a must-win game. You know you just lost to Jupiter Christian on the road, and now you got to go against this powerful St. Andrew Scots team. At the all-new Boulder Field. Can the Eagles make a statement and take down the number 8 in county ranked St. Andrew Scots? That's going to be the real question down here. If they can do it, it's because of the receivers. But again, you need to stop the Boston College Schmidt and you need to neutralize face-off. Both of those receivers for the Scots, those are going to be your dangerous weapons if you're this defensive front for St. John Paul and Sutton Academy. If you do that, St. Andrews have a very, very tough time getting past the line of scrimmage.
And Jordan, before the Scots take on the St. John Paul II, the Scots are taking on NSU Sharks this week in a rivalry matchup and a show that the Scots are looking to come back on from last year. NSU beat St. Andrews last year, and as we're looking at it here, it's going to be an exciting game, Jordan. It's going
Absolutely.
To be
Remember that St. Andrew Scott receiver we talked about going to Boston College? Well, he now just got reoffered by Georgia.
That is correct.
The Georgia Bulldogs, Hodge and Toby Smart.
That's correct. Wesley
Wynn, he's up in Georgia Tech this weekend, taking a visit up there. He is offered by Georgia. He has over 40 college offers. He's can create separation. He's a nightmare for any high school secondary and any high school defense, and he certainly will be for you guys indeed. Jordan, thank you so much for your thoughts on today's show. Aiden, I want to get your final thoughts here and do you want to bring Jordan back up for a question?
We can bring Jordan back up for a question.
Jordan,
I want to ask you your opinion on the Scots Pope game. Who do you think is going to win? Be completely
honest. It's going to be St. Andrews all day long. I think with the core that receivers have, that the St. Andrews Scots offense has, it will be no match for a Pope guy. Now, it doesn't mean that St. John Paul will always score points. It's, anything can happen, but
Jordan, I think we're going to have to get you a St. Andrews Scots shirt. Jordan, will you be joining us Thursday night for the NSU game?
This Thursday, right?
Correct.
Would it be at Don Jones?
It's at Don Jones Memorial Field.
We'll shoot it. Hey, man, we'll shoot it. I don't have a it's just got to be a St. Andrews Scots lacrosse show.
Jordan Lidman will be at the Don.
We'll be shooting that St. Andrews Scots thing for you guys, and we'll go from there.
Perfect.
The Don
Jones. We have nothing else we're shooting this week, so.
So we'll see you there Thursday night at the Don Jones in your St. Andrews lacrosse shirt. Am I correct?
Yeah, I just need one. I think we're an auspicious sponsorship because I have plenty of red shirts, but we don't have any St. Andrews, and I do want to get a St. Andrews lacrosse shirt in the near future. So
we'll get you right at the St. Andrews bookstore, Jordan. Thank you for joining us on today's Dolphins episode that turned into an FAU and St. Andrews episode, but we appreciate it a lot, Jordan, and we're looking forward to having you on this week for more episodes to come on St. Andrews, FAU, and the Miami Dolphins, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, guys, make sure, we don't just talk to Dolphins. We're not a one-stop show. We're not just FAU. We're not just the Dolphins. We talk all things Boca Raton, all things South Florida sports. And if that interests you, please hit that subscribe button. Leave a like. We're grinding daily podcasts, daily live shows, tapping y'all. Thank you guys so much for watching. See y'all in the next one. Fins up.
Fins up.